I'm that girl who totally loves talking to you, but even more so than that, I love talking to your best friend, who is your subconscious. And every time I do a session, even though I love all of my clients sharing and caring with me about their own personal journeys in this 3D life, what is the most exhilarating and the most fascinating about these sessions is that I get to connect in and talk to your subconscious, your Mr. SC. And this is extraordinary because they do not have the ego of a 3D person. And so I have been known to say that some of my favorite people are subconsciouses, and that is still correct. They are amazing. They're so guided. They're so intellectual. They've got so much higher perspective, and it is a joy to always connect in and be able to talk to them. And it's such an honor as well. They are no fools. And so sometimes it is always interesting as a practitioner. And I want to recall back on a client that I had who listened to the information about the new earth and wasn't happy with this, didn't want that to be his reality, that we had to shift. He has got a love affair with this planet and with his life right now. And so he wanted to do a session, use his free will, and ask his guides, his collectives, for something he thought was going to be the fantastic solution to all our problems and hopes and dreams. So he thought that he could use his session. And he was very upfront with me about it, and I do appreciate him for that. He wanted to be able to ask for technology to be able to save the planet, heal the planet, and fix all our problems. And he believed that he could be able to do this because it's his free will. He's using his subconscious, and he thinks that this is a really clever way to be able to get ourselves out of the problems we're dealing with. And so he was very convinced that he would be able to do this, and he'd already worked it out with his mind and his Mr. Ego. Dolores used to say a name for that, for Mr. Ego, and many people get triggered and they can't believe that she would actually say that. But if you've read her books and you've listened to her talking, she refers to the ego as Mr. Stupid. Now, she is not a condescending woman by any stretch of the imaginations, but compared to the subconscious, it is Mr. Stupid. And so with much love and considerations, we're not really here to experience and hold the wisdom of the truths and everything, every facet and the ways of the worlds and the universes. We're here to experience emotions and overcome them using our moral compass with our free will. So, and that being said, she is right. We all have Mr. Stupid that wants to try and control and protect us. Mr. Stupid doesn't like new things, and Mr. Stupid certainly doesn't like to trust much because it knows that this world is scary and dangerous. And so it wants to lead you and guide you on a path that is very scary and dangerous for you. And so often, because it hasn't faced its fears, it will literally direct you, guide you directly to really interesting challenges that it's trying to avoid, ironically. So when you don't face your fears, you find that you are winding up because you're reacting on your fears, even though they don't actually happen. You're actually creating other situations that occur, which actually isn't what you're wanting the conclusions of your behaviors and actions to be. So moving forward to this session, so lovely man, really lovely, really intelligent, really got a heart of gold. And he, bless him, honestly thought that he was going to be able to, with these sessions, be able to heal Gaia and get us on track where we could shift into the fifth dimension here on planet Earth, as he knew was once supposed to be the case. And so I'm listening to him for hours, convincing me that he thinks he's got it right. He thinks that he's going to use his free will and this is going to be fantastic. And of course, as a practitioner, I loved that approach, was excited. Oh, isn't that amazing? Yes. Why didn't I think of that beforehand? I was thinking to myself, however, we've already asked so many times, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe this time there's going to be some different information that I get to hear. So having a conversation with him was one thing, and then fast forward an hour later when his Mr. Subconscious comes in and laughs. laughs hysterically. And it's interesting when you have been talking to a body for so long, and then they're in that deep state of relaxation where they're just laying down and their subconscious is talking through them. It is funny for them to suddenly have quite a big epiphany because they're connected into their higher selves and subconsciouses, and they're saying the technology is already here. We've already got advanced technology to do everything that he was wishing for. However, those who have got that technology are not the sharing, caring type. So as much love that they could give him was very disappointing for him to discover this later. And it was interesting to have these long conversations with his subconscious about this, because he just really wasn't ready to accept that this was a done deal. He didn't want to accept that Gaia has chosen her new life contract and that is supported by all. Bless him and his Mr. Stupid for wanting to fix a solution. And most people, when they're trying to use their free will, they're trying to fix something, but often because they can't see the bigger perspective. It's just like when people try to avoid something. You try to avoid it thinking that's going to be the solution and the answers. It never is, especially if it's something you've got to overcome in your life contract. It will just keep showing up and showing up and showing up. And of course, we can ignore it. So it's all very interesting experiences for all while we have our choices. But given the fact that I can connect in to people's subconsciousnesses and have great old conversations with them, it is interesting the choices that people are making to disempower themselves and not step up according to their mission and their purpose here. And so this is why it is not a coincidence that so many second wave volunteers are reaching out to me at this time, because they are wanting to understand and clarify their calling. They've either had a big dream where Dolores Cannons come in, they've got all these signs, all these epiphanies. They don't know where the heck they suddenly started hearing my voice on their computer, but they were watching something on YouTube one day and suddenly there I am speaking to them. And so however people have been led to me, it is not by accident. It is very much your teams pushing you with much love to be able to hear this information from a bigger perspective. Sometimes it can be very challenging, and I also can concur that when I was starting to learn this information too, I went into the whole doubt, barter, trade, begging, snot bubbles. I did the whole emotional roller coaster because I was really confused and concerned about what this would actually look like. And it just sounded too scary to even process, let alone be brave enough to ask what's going on. So big journey in the last 2 years, and I've had to grow rapidly. And as I have been growing rapidly and found myself and my voice and my inner love and my inner peace and all that fantastic stuff, I have discovered along the way that it is much easier to support the newly awoken people than, say, people who think that they already know what spirituality is, because they've already got these old assumptions and these old belief systems that they're still holding on to. If it worked for them once, they will never want to try again in a different way. And so it's almost breaking down those people. Now, they will get there at some point, but whenever they do, they actually have to realize and update themselves. Often we know in industries we have to keep training and advancing and exploring, but it seems like in some aspects, once you get taught something once, you don't need to keep having ongoing training. And ultimately, as a light worker or a spiritual person, we should be doing so much of our own inner work along the journey that we grow and expand. But often, as we have known and discovered, there were actually some other agendas going on in the spiritual new age world that was truly trying to sidetrack people into different directions. And that's unfortunate, but all is well. And you're going to find yourself awakened to all of the agendas while doing your own inner work. And what we've heard in sessions is that when the shift happens, it's not up to when everyone's ready. There's going to be a point where the majority is ready. Now, if you are ready at that point, Fantastic, great. That means you're going to be more of service to those who are trying to understand what is happening and why. But if you aren't ready, that is also okay. But it just means you're going to spend a lot longer on the ships as you are slowly getting transported to the new earth and slowly get rid of the trauma and the inner work and all this sort of stuff. So what that may look like is you're in a sleep-like state and you're actually sort of having lots of dreams, to have experiences, to feel into all of these emotions. As we know, dreams have quite powerful emotions attached to it. And so we're going to be doing our inner work through that journey. And I had a few clients concerned and curious. They've been listening to my sessions, and when they did their own quantum sessions with another practitioner, they got that they would be going to the new earth in 12 years. And that really concerned them. And so I listened to the session, and what the question was, when will they be arriving on the new earth? Big difference from when the shift's happening. And so the person was expecting to hear that when the shift was going to occur. And so they were sort of really sort of dismayed. It sounds like it's so instant and so soon, Joe. What the F, 12 years? And so I had to listen to the session to figure out what was actually going on and what was actually being said. And it was interesting because the practitioner didn't believe that the new earth was here by any stretch of the imagination. Sorry, she didn't believe that the new earth was somewhere else. She believed that the new earth was here. And so even the practitioner is a little bit confused and discombobulated with what the information was flowing out of this client. So it's all very significant, all very purposeful, but you have to be able to understand how these sessions work. And if you're asking one thing from the subconscious and you're using different labels or terms, or your questions are a little bit loose and flexible, they will know that you're not really honoring this work a bit. And so they will give you the most that you can get and the most you can handle. I've had clients not asking about certain things which have come out of sessions, and I know the client explicitly said, I don't want to know about X, Y, and Z. And then the subconscious comes in like he is not Mr. Stupid and then lays it down for my client, who then it's just very interesting. And I love these sessions. They're so profound. Going back to the man who thought that he could use his free will to be able to fix the solutions for Gaia, it was interesting because I talked to him for many hours, had the session for many hours, and when he came out of it, he didn't actually remember the subconscious part at all. So he wanted me to instantly tell him, did we get the information? Are they going to give us the technology? Did they tell me the technology? And it's like, no, this is when you need to listen to your sessions, my friends. So I still find a lot of people messaging me saying that their QHHT sessions or their BQH sessions from other practitioners did not work. And they're heartbroken about this because they say, oh, Joe, I'm useless. I can't be hypnotized. And I say, well, forget hypnotized. And what do you think being hypnotized looks like? Oh, I don't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I didn't get visuals. It was like I was just making it all up. So I just didn't dismiss the whole thing. It's been discussed many times in session, so I'll quickly repeat it. Now, most of my clients do not visually see anything. And plus, you'll never see anything with your physical eyeballs. This is your mindset. This is your mind's eye. This is where you have your dreams. It's really in your mind. And it's all of those senses that are being called upon to be felt out. And we have to translate those senses, that experience into words. And so it's fun, it's easy, and you're actually in that state of mind often just before you wake up and just before you fall asleep. That is it. That's where we get you into a nice relaxed state, and that is it. It is, I know I've divorced my name from the word hypnosis because it conjures up a whole lot of other things, and that word has been misused like so many. And so I just say I get my clients into a relaxed state, and they are just very relaxed, so much so that they allow their frequency to be raised profoundly. So their subconscious, their master guide, whomever you want to call it, come in and channel through the client. And so I try not to use labels too much because I know my tomato sauce is not your ketchup. And so All is well. I just wanted to say as well that they keep telling me it's really exciting because so much more people are awakening and that they're finding and discovering the truth. And it's much faster for those who have been completely asleep, say, versus those spiritual people who think that they are playing with spirituality and they think that they know certain things. So they're kind of like on their own little path. They're trying to keep out of trouble. They're trying to ignore any density and any problems. So they're kind of not, while they're not doing their own inner work and advancing that way, they're not dipping down too much to be a problem and nuisance. But a lot of the big influences that have been a disservice to humanity have had walkouts with much love and much guidance from their teams, because this is an important, big deal that is happening on this planet right now. And those who have been profoundly awoken, I notice when we are getting to these points of close opportunities for big shifts, as in the shift, when that doesn't occur, we go on another sort of timeline. And then when we're experiencing that another new timeline, our collectives work really closely with all our guides and to realize, okay, this didn't work. What next? How else are we going to be able to really support humanity the best, knowing that humanity is really run by a big bunch of Mr. Stupids? And I say that with much love, because that is really probably quite a kind thing to say about people in their 3D mindsets with their egos, because they just keep tripping over themselves and they don't have much spiritual maturity to be able to have faith, to have trust, to have respect, and to be able to connect in truly with themselves. So they are a little bit all over the place. But the great news is those who are completely in the dark, who were in deep fear and deeply concerned about the state of the world, whatever they wanted to believe was the true problem, whether it was climate change or a virus or something else. So many people are awakening. And once you realize that you're being sold a narrative that may not always be the truth, then that actually can help you get out of that density, because you're more curious, you're more actually focused on trying to find the truth than just sitting there in fear and worry. And so when you're actively doing something, either growing or exploring and trying to, you're distracting yourselves from the fear. So this is what was really helpful. A lot of people are embarrassed to say that they kind of went down this truther rabbit hole when this all started to happen a few years ago. And they almost feel embarrassed because, it didn't quite lead them to the full truth. But what it did lead them out of was fear, even though they found new fear to kind of play with and merge and release and let go and put into a good perspective. It kind of distracted them. It distracted them from their routines of normal. It distracted them into actually really what moral compasses should look like. And then, it was a continual on journey. I feel like they have so much to share and remind you and guide you and support you with. And they really want me to honor those who are on this journey, who want to be of service. And so what they've asked me to do is have a Zoom meeting with anyone that feels that they are a volunteer, or anyone that actually just wants to be of service. And so what they are asking is that we use all our free will that we have, come together at a certain time, and to be able to lend our energies and open up our hearts and minds to be able to send profound love to humanity, and to be able to support all while they are being moved out of their fear, moved out of the density, and be more focused on finding the truth than finding their density of feelings and looping into that. So if you would like to attend this, obviously it's going to be a free event. You are more than welcome to come and join in, and it will just be probably less than an hour. I feel like they want me to do some channeling to be able to open up and connect us all together to be able to be of service to help humanity. And won't that feel fantastic when we all just connect in together and all just share our energy, because we are loving and we are going to be able to just unite together. It's not going to be a big gossip conversation about anything that needs to be. We're not going to give you the dates of this shift, because we are delayed until we all step up and be of service and use our free will wisely, use our energy wisely, and to really connect in and honor ourselves and honor others at the same time. So using our free will wisely is definitely what they have been asking from us for a long time. And with unity comes community, and they're wanting us all to really to connect in. So in the comfort of your own home, pajamas or not, we're not judging. You don't even need to show yourself on camera, but it is about just showing up and being part of something. And so they also want us to sing a song, which is going to uplift our vibrations right away. And so it's going to be a silent karaoke event where we can all put ourselves on mute and just sing our hearts out and raise our vibrations, and then be able to connect in and just feel the energy of each other in a really loving, supportive way. Because so many of you keep saying, I'd love to be able to have my own community, but I just am, for either whatever reasons, location wise, or you're still shy, or you're still afraid of density. Energy vampires are still very much a thing. And so, I will be able to guide the most appropriate people to these events. And so while everyone is welcome, only those who want to be of true service will be invited to come in. So please send me an email and I will send you the link and be able to figure out when was the best, most appropriate time for all, because this is an important time and we want to feel part of the solution and certainly not part of the problem. Okay, lots of love. I hope this resonated with the people that needed to resonate with, and I feel like I have to go back and listen to it to see what I even just rattled on about. So much love, my friends. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I'm going to do a little private channeling now, because I want to be able to ask for clear weather for New Zealand, as we are doing a demonstration in our capital. And interestingly enough, some bad weather has suddenly just popped up there. So I want to do some clearing and just send profound strength and courage to all of those people who are attending. So I love you, and I love your subconscious, and so do you, because he and they are amazing.